All right. To get started, my name is Japna, and my presentation is about Koita's plant-based milk. More specifically, my research goes into the environmental benefits of plant-based milk, the health benefits of plant-based milk, and then more importantly, what's special about Koita. And then I end with a little challenge. All right. So to start off, as we know, methane emissions have really only grown throughout the past years as the dairy industry continues to astronomically increase. The dairy industry is the cause of over 4% of human-caused emissions, and most emissions are in the form of methane. So to give you a number of pretty much how much it takes to produce milk, in the US, for every gallon of milk produced results in greenhouse gases equivalent to 17.6 pounds of carbon dioxide emissions. And then on top of that, we have over 278 million dairy cows in the world, and each cow produces over 220 pounds of methane yearly. And then it also takes a large amount of water to produce, cow's milk. So 144 gallons of water are used to produce 1 gallon of milk in the United States. And then over 93% of that milk, of that water, is used to grow feed for cattle or just feed the cattle and the dairy cattle. So that brings us to our central question, right? Why plant-based milk? So in my opinion, I think the environmental benefits of plant-based milk outweigh the health benefits, but I think both are really important to talk about. So in essence, if we want to lower emissions in the dairy industry, the plant-based milk it's the way to go. Just to give you an exact detail a number on how that is, the production of oat milk results in 80% less greenhouse gas emissions, 60% less energy, and 80% less land usage in comparison to cow's milk. Similarly for soy milk needs around 297 liters of water to produce. That is 1/3 of the water used to produce a liter of cow's milk. And then also on top of that, plant-based milk does have its benefits health-wise. So, specific milks have specific advantages. So if you lack a certain antioxidant or vitamin, then switching over to that particular milk that has a strong level of that vitamin could be very beneficial for your health. Just for an example, like as we saw, oat milk has a very strong level of vitamin D. So if you do, and you are looking for a way to have more vitamin D into your daily structure, then switching over to oat milk will be very beneficial. But in essence, right, there is a very, very large difference of drinking cow's milk and drinking plant-based milk, specifically for the environment. So then, what's special about Koita's milk, right? Why should you get Koita's milk when there's probably a bunch of other plant-based milks on the market when you go shopping? And, it's a lot. And I'll get more into that right now. So first, let's take a look at the ingredients, right? Koita's ingredients are straight from Italy. They are GMO-free, they're organic, all natural, and more importantly, Koita also brings in main ingredients from places they're seasonally grown, right? So for example, the coconut milks are fresh from Thailand, right? So not only is this better health-wise, but it's also better for the environment. And then as you can tell by the ingredients listed on the screen, I have Koita's milk on the left and silk milk, a common plant-based milk on the right. And Koita has significantly less amount of ingredients, but that just means that the ingredients that they are putting in are, as you can tell, they're organic, they're all natural. And yeah, this is the almond coconut milk. Yeah. So now let's talk about pricing, right? So I found the pricing per pint for Koita's milk of oat milk, and then a Pacific Foods organic oat milk. So, Koita's pricing is a bit higher, just 74 cents per pint. But, one important thing to note is that Koita's pricing is slightly higher because the milks, like in this case, the oats that they're using, they're Italian oats, right? In every case, these milks that are being made, they're being made from Italian ingredients. So that's inevitably going to make the pricing a bit higher. But as we see, as we saw before over here, you are paying for those extra nutritional benefits. And, we'll talk more about that right now with vitamin levels. So I have the nutritional benefits and labels from the Pacific Foods and the Koita milk. And so, at first glance, you can see that, Koita has a 15% of the milk, it has a 15% of vitamin D, and Pacific Foods has around 10% of vitamin D. But if we look in more specifically, the Pacific Foods chart is for 240 ml serving size versus Koita's serving size, which is 100 ml. So essentially, per 100 ml serving, that's around 4.616% of vitamin D for Pacific Foods versus Koita's 15%. So like I said before, right, when we are going back to the pricing, right, you are getting these exorbitant amount of levels of vitamins. So another example, a good example of this is rice milk. I think I just saw on the Koita website that their rice milk is sold out, and I know it's one of its hottest commodities. So if we are looking, you can see that there is 15.8% of B12 per 100 ml serving size for Koita. And then, the organic rice stream has 25% B12 for 240 ml serving size. But again, if we find what that is for 100 ml serving size, that is 15.8% for Koita versus 10.41% for organic rice stream. All right, so that pretty much brings us to our challenge. And, I think it's really important for us to educate ourselves on the environmental benefits of plant-based milk, and even the health benefits of plant-based milk. The more we research about these things, the more knowledgeable we become on these topics, and then we are able to make these implementations to our lives. I know it can be hard sometimes to transfer over to a particular type of milk, even though that other milk, cow's milk, might be in your routine, but trust me, it is really worth it. So the first challenge we have is to create an infographic. So, each participant, the way this is going to work is that each participant must create an infographic about the benefits of plant-based milk and Koita. These infographics should be posted on your Instagram. If you do not have an Instagram, that is perfectly fine. You can email the Koita team your infographic. But remember, if you are posting onto your story or onto your page, to tag the @Koita USA account. Then these infographics will be reposted or posted onto their stories or pages. And then there will be a poll to decide the winner. The participant with the most amount of votes will get a specialized gift of their choosing. This could be Koita milk, for example. Pretty much it's really up to you. And yeah, that pretty much brings me to the end of my presentation. But to just go over everything that I went through, right? They are a lot of environmental benefits, a lot of environmental benefits of plant-based milk. There are health benefits as well too. And then, more specifically, if we are looking at Koita versus other brands on the market, even though Koita might be a bit slightly more expensive, you are paying for those, I think it was almost like 2 to 3 times the amount of vitamin levels. So, as it says on the Koita website, when you eat good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you do good. All right, thank you. And here are my sources at the end.